Guardians, what is going on, guys? Your boy Sly here, and man, did we just get the holy grail of sneak peeks or what, y'all? It is straight up awesome. Game Informer has just released their latest digital issue, which you can see right here. Now, historically, Game Informer has always been at the forefront of pre-launch exclusives. They dropped some big news back in year one, then completely covered the Taken King, and now they're doing it again with Rise of Iron, and it is by far the most complete look we've seen into the world Destiny will be bringing to its Guardians on September 20th. Guys, there's like so much stuff here, I really don't even know where to begin. So first of all, click the link in the description box below and browse the website. Take a look at some of these pictures. Not only that, you can see new armor, new raid weapons, the works. If you have access to the complete digital edition, then you will be spoiled by the greatness that awaits you. Complete raid set gear, complete Trials of Osiris gear, and I have to say, y'all, that Trials is getting one amazing makeover. The armor in this expansion went in a completely different direction than in the years past, and I am absolutely loving it. The weapons are getting this gritty, scavenged material type look to them, and they all have some kind of medieval theme with at least one knife-like bayonet on the end of them. But that's not all. According to Game Informer, we will be seeing the biggest haul of weapons and armor that an expansion has ever released in Destiny. More so than that, the most customizable weapons and armor ever created. In April, Chroma was released, but that was just the start. This fall, we're going to be able to completely change the shape and angles of exotics, weapons, and armor. Change the colors, textures, add like a fur color here, some metal chain there. Destiny is calling this system its ornamental feature, and it will bring a deeper level of customization to the game Destiny, the likes of which has never been seen yet. Now, they didn't go into great detail about all the different ways you can rework a single piece, but they said that you can change the color, shape, and style of a lot of different things. Definitely, guys, definitely cannot wait for that. So before we go forward, pre-release content is a tricky beast, guys. This is Game Informer's story, and I can only show you a few screenshots of the article itself along with some images. I'm not trying to get caught up in some kind of copyright fiasco, but I will tell you guys that we have assloads of awesomeness heading our way. Ornamental, transmog fashion, whatever you want to call it, has been a long time coming, and that shader hacker program found months ago from dynamiting is probably the remnants of an early build from this exact same thing. So, while we're on the topic of looking the same, Iron Banner will be coming back, but with new twists. There's a secret area within Felwinters Peak that only opens up during festivals, and Iron Banner will be held there from September 20th onward. One of the most notable changes coming in September is the absence of the tempered buff. The weekly buff is going away and being replaced with an easier ranking system that doesn't require as much gameplay to rank up. They want Guardians to rank up early and then reap max rewards throughout the week instead of ranking up throughout the week and then getting rank 5 drops for just a day or two. On top of that, they have completely reworked the bounties and reward system. They talked about another change coming in Rise of Iron, and that is as soon as you hit a rank, your reward will be instantaneous. No more flying back and forth or going to the postmaster, though they didn't describe how it will be rewarded. One big question on everyone's mind is this: Saladin, will he still host the Iron Banner, now that it's basically, in his backyard? Well, again, they didn't say that either. They did say Felwinters Peak will be home to new vendors and new quest givers. Among them is an Awoken Archivist, Tyra Karn, and Cade 6 Trusted Scout, Shiro 4. Another change to Iron Banner is that we will no longer need class items, shaders, or emblems to stack XP gains. It will be even across the board, though we can still collect and equip all of those things in Year 3. And speaking of Year 3, the progression system of the April update will still be there, offering small light gains between 1 and 5 light for every new piece that you acquire. So for example, if your light level is 350 and you finish part of your book or an activity, you can expect loot to drop anywhere from 350 to 355. As far as exotics go, they haven't mentioned what light they will be sold at or dropped at from engrams. But we are keeping the one and done infusion system, and all of your infusable weapons in the vault will still be relevant in Year 3 through this system. Alright, so while we're on gear, there are more complete sets shipping with Rise of Iron than ever before, guys. On top of the new armor coming out from the vendors, so that means basically Crucible, Vanguard, New Monarchy, Dead Orbit, and Future War Cult, there are newly designed matching sets for the Wrath of the Machine Raid, Iron Banner, Iron Lords, Trials of Osiris, and Archon Forge. 10 brand new and completely different sets of armor. How awesome is that, guys? And most of them have a full suite of weapons to complement those sets of armor as well. Now, here is just a small taste of the raid armor and the Trials of Osiris armor, along with a few other screenshots. I'll play them from start to finish. On top of armor, each activity will have its own unique ornamental material that is used to convert armor, weapons, and even exotics into something completely different and fresh. It doesn't perfect performance, only the look of things. Now, there are ones you can throw together yourself, or special pre-made skins that can only be achieved by beating certain activities or going flawless in Trials of Osiris. I'm assuming beating the hard raid and in challenge mode, they'll all have their own unique ornamentals to go along with it. On top of earning special ornamental items from beating Destiny's hardest challenges, the more common ones will be handed out by a new thing called Radiant Treasures. It's basically Sterling Treasure for Year 2. Sterling Treasure for Year 3. They can be acquired pretty much the same way, though they didn't say if one was free every week. However, Eva Levante will have an unlimited stock, of course, so for the rich Guardians out there, you can always go buy some. And that brings me to this, guys. If some of you out there remember, I put a video out a few weeks ago letting everyone know that the Solar Lord was probably just a skin from Jolder's Hammer, and it looks like I was right on track with that. A previous video before that, we talked about Max Light and the Max Light not being 355 like the reveal stream said. That is confirmed, guys. 400 will be the new Max Light, however you will be stuck at 385 until a few days after launch when Destiny's new raid, Wrath of the Machine, opens up. Only then will 400 be achievable. From the article, which said very little, we were warned of a fast-paced, challenging, constantly evolving, on-the-move raid with a lot of tense, in-your-face moments. I'm surprised they actually let the name go out this early. It's unlike Bungie to do that, but I'm stoked to know the name now. So if you're worried about a fast-paced raid, we're getting an extra boost of help from the most unlikely of source this time around, and that is from our artifacts. Pre-Taken King, before I was a YouTuber, I guessed artifacts will let us combine, certain perks or skills, like double exotics maybe, or a more powerful melee, longer supers, stuff like that. And while I was totally wrong back then, it turned out to be pretty close now. Artifacts are being reworked into a more meaningful slot choice. No longer will you equip what looks best or what is the highest light. These new artifacts will now have massive implications on the battlefield. I'll go over all these in more detail in another video because it is quite extensive. But these new medallion-like artifacts will change everything, guys. They're named after Iron Banner Lords, and each one plays to the strength of that particular figure. Take a look on screen at some of these images, it'll give you a better idea. Some will give you double melee, double grenades, and extra agility at the cost of losing your super. Some will give you more shields or more agility, greater recharge rate, etc. There is a bunch of options out there. So you can now equip a certain artifact for a certain subclass to maximize its potential and be able to conquer any scenario. This is going to be one awesome change. Like I said, I'll go over all of them in detail within the week. Alright guys, so let's talk about PvP for a second. Along with 3 new maps, The Last Exit, Floating Gardens, and Skyline, a new Crucible mode is coming, and it's a rendition of the Kill Confirm style matches that you've seen in Call of Duty, where you pick up enemy dog tags to score points, or you scoop up your teammates' tags to stop the enemy team from scoring. They said there are some twists on it, so we'll see just what kind of twists these are in the weeks to come. It's called Supremacy, and Guardians will drop subclass symbols on the ground like you see right here. Just like Call of Duty, someone has to pick them up. They didn't go into too much detail past that and a quick snapshot. So while we're on the Crucible, Thorn is making a Year 3 comeback along with Galahorn and a few others. Quests will be the surefire way to get the best exotics in the game, and exotics? How about that Kavastov, guys? The first weapon you ever fired as a Guardian, well at least most of us, is now confirmed that it's coming back as an exotic weapon. We all suspected as much, but now it's finally true. Now, I'm saying weapon because it's not really an auto rifle. It's not really a pulse rifle. It's not really a scout rifle. It's all 3, guys. The exotic Kavastov is an interchangeable weapon that can shoot at different speeds on different modes, and in total has 100 different setting and firing combinations. How awesome is that, man? My schoolgirl giggles were flying all over the place this morning, man. On top of that, it's also confirmed that new exotics are being added on top of those missing from the Taken King. Warlock boots and fishbowl helmet, I'm looking at you guys. Alright, so it'll be nice to see what's really coming out in year 3. I'm thinking we're going to be getting a lot more than they let on. They talked about secrets out in the world and even some that are in the tower. Apparently they will only activate or open after you completed or activated certain features or at certain times in the game. That is the core appeal for me and the reason why I've sunk almost 3 years into Destiny, guys, and that is plain secrets. The constant discovery for myself or helping others discover something new and hearing the excitement in the voices. That is why I started a YouTube channel to begin with, straight up secrets. And speaking of secrets, there is also a secret reveal for the PvP community that will be announced at a later date. Come on guys, even last year, kindergartens know what that means. Private matches are finally on the way. I have no doubt that Lars Bakken will be announcing private matches here very, very soon. Maybe even Gamescom soon. Time will soon tell. One of the most intriguing things I read was about this place called Archon's Forge. According to the article, it's a place that's not quite elaborate as a prison of elders, but way more involved and bigger than the Court of Orcs. It's a multiplayer wave-based Horde Mode event that random players can tackle together. It's also host to its own set of challenges and gear that can only be acquired from this activity. It's set within the Plaguelands and sounds like it's in the dead center of all of it, the most rewarding place within the lands. They made sure to say that it's not a one and done boss fight, but instead a cross between the Prison of Elders and the Court of Orcs. Giving it its own gear is awesome, a great idea, and I think it will appeal to a lot more people. Alright, so let's get to the final spoilers, and guys, you really need to read this article. I'm only scratching the surface. You can get it online, or you can wait for it to come out on paper, but it's 16 pages of awesomeness. Now, I'm not leaving out much. This is all the big stuff that was mentioned, but there is some plenty of stuff to read. Okay, so moving along, everyone knows that RNG sucks, right? I mean, it does. While I don't mind it, those who just play casually hate the fact that they can't get what they really want in the time that they do have to spend. So this year, Destiny is taking a new course of action. Rise of Iron, SRL, which by the way is coming back in December, merges with Year 2 Moments of Triumph and the questification of Taken King to create a record book of activities. This will be your source for a lot of weapons and armor in the Rise of Iron. After completing certain activities, strikes, challenges, etc., the book will mark it as complete, and then once you finish certain criteria, the book will reward you with your gear, just like the SRL book or Moments of Triumph book. Emblems, shaders, armor, weapons, everything will be handed out by way of the book. Of course, there will still be leveling up and rewards from vendors and stuff, but as far as the main campaign and story quests go, it sounds like the book is now going to be the main way. And honestly, I'm not quite sure how I feel about that. More so than that, they are equalizing loot drops of strike-specific loot as well. During heroic strikes, end bosses will now start to drop these things called skeleton keys, if you're lucky that is. Now it's still an RNG drop, but at the end of every strike, a chest will appear. You can use that skeleton key on whatever strike you want in hopes to get a certain item. The item is random from the chest, but at least it narrows down to a specific strike. Alright, so for instance, if the Shield Brothers dropped you a skeleton key, you can pick it up and either open the chest at the end of the Shield Brothers strike to get the gauntlets, or you can save it and then use it later at the end of the Darkblade strike to try to get the helmet or the fusion rifle. But like I said, you could also get the fusion rifle if you want the helmet. It's a one-time use kind of thing, but at least now you can narrow it down and you can choose where to aim your luck. You'll always get a strike-specific item regardless, so that's always a good thing. Alright, now let's get to the stuff that I wasn't excited about. There are only 5 story missions in the entire DLC. After that, it is all quests and continuation like the new strike, which by the way, there's only one new strike. It's called the Wretched Eye, and it takes you deep into an old nuclear missile silo where Siva has infected the hive nests. On top of the one strike, Sepix Prime has been rebuilt by Siva, and so has his strike, which is now called Sepix Perfected. Apparently it has complex new dialogue and routes within the strike that tie into the story. This is also true of another strike that's getting reworked on the moon. What used to be known as my boy Fogoth is now something completely different. The strike is now actually called Abomination Heist, and along with the upgraded dialogue and actions, it's now supposed to be a very, very challenging strike. Guys, I could go on and on about all of this stuff, but it's better to just read it for yourselves. Now, I did go over all the major announcements and the coolest thing that stood out to me. but there are some small things still hidden between the pages. Now, it amazes me that we hear so little about these DLCs, and then unexpectedly, a massive bombshell of information drops seemingly out of nowhere with an unrestricted full access review. During the reveal stream, we couldn't even look around a metal wall, but now they just let it all hang out. Kinda weird, right? Either way, Rise of Iron definitely promises one thing, y'all. This game is far from dead, and it's really just getting started. With the PvP systems, the loot systems, the server bugs getting ironed out over the past few years, Rise of Iron proves to be a polished DLC, and I have extremely high hopes for Destiny 2. Thanks to Game Informer for this awesome Infosplosion, and I look forward to the updates all August long. Alright guys, well that's it for me. As always, thank you so much for watching, and keep an eye out for more Destiny vids in the works soon. I'll be breaking down the artifact system as well as the plans for the future of Destiny after Rise of Iron. As always, if you want to stay up to date on everything Destiny, Rise of Iron, or The Division, follow me on Twitter at SlyNation. It's the best place to stay up to date on everything gaming related as well as new uploads from my channel. Alright guys, I'm out of here, and until next time, this is your boy Sly. Done. Gone. Out.
Ammo inbound. Zone B secure.